My beloved child, there are moments in life when the truth about a connection becomes too powerful to stay hidden, and this is one of those moments. While you have been sitting quietly with your thoughts, wondering if the person you love truly feels the same intensity that lives inside your heart, something unexpected has already happened behind closed doors. Your name was spoken in a room you have never entered, by lips you have never heard call your name directly, and the energy that followed changed everything. The one you love, the soul who tries so hard to appear calm and unaffected, could no longer hide what your presence has done to them. The moment they began speaking about you, the atmosphere around them shifted completely. Conversation slowed. Eyes turned toward them. Even the people closest to their heart felt that something sacred was unfolding in front of them. You do not yet understand how deeply your energy has touched this person's life. Before you entered their path, they carried themselves with emotional distance. They moved through their days pretending nothing could truly reach them. Many people believed they were incapable of vulnerability, incapable of opening their heart completely to another soul. But everything began changing the moment your energy entered their world. Little by little, the walls around them started breaking apart. The people around them noticed it first before they even realized it themselves. They noticed how your soulmate became quieter after hearing your name. They noticed how their expression softened whenever they thought nobody was watching. They noticed how someone who once avoided emotional conversations suddenly became thoughtful, reflective, and careful with their choices. And eventually, the people around them began asking questions they could no longer avoid. My beloved child, one conversation led to another until your name unexpectedly became the center of attention. At first, your soulmate hesitated. Not because they were ashamed of you, but because speaking about you out loud made their feelings impossible to deny anymore. There is something terrifying about admitting that another person has the power to touch your soul deeply. They tried to protect those emotions in silence for as long as possible. But the truth inside them had already grown too strong. The moment they finally spoke about you, everyone listening became completely still. They expected a casual explanation. They expected temporary emotions. But instead they heard someone describe a connection that had changed the direction of their entire inner world. They spoke about your heart before they spoke about your appearance. They described the peace your energy brings into their chaos. They explained how your presence calms storms inside them that nobody else even knows exist. My child. They spoke of you with a sincerity that surprised even them. Every word carried emotion. Every sentence revealed pieces of feelings they had been trying desperately to hide. And while they were speaking, the people around them slowly realized something undeniable. You are not just another passing person in their life. You are someone who has awakened emotions they have never experienced before. That realization filled the room with silence, because everyone understood they were witnessing something real. What makes this even more powerful is that your soulmate never intended for anyone to see how deeply affected they are by you. They tried to remain composed. They tried to appear emotionally controlled. But love leaves traces inside a person no matter how hard they attempt to hide it. The people closest to them began noticing small changes weeks ago. The way their mood shifted after talking to you. The way they smiled quietly when your messages appeared. The way they protected their phone whenever your name showed up. The way they suddenly lost interest in shallow connections that once distracted them. Those changes became impossible to ignore. And eventually, someone finally asked the question sitting heavily in the room. Who is this person? The silence that followed carried more truth than words ever could. My beloved child. Your soulmate answered that question carefully, because they understood that speaking about you meant revealing a vulnerable part of themselves they usually keep hidden from the world. They explained how your energy feels familiar to them, almost as if their soul recognized yours before their mind had time to understand it. They admitted that your presence lingers in their thoughts long after conversations end. Even your silence stays with them. Even your absence speaks loudly inside their heart. They confess that no matter how hard they try to focus on other things, their mind somehow returns to you again and again. And while they were speaking, everyone listening could feel the honesty in their voice. There are connections in this world that cannot be explained logically. They are felt emotionally, spiritually, deeply. This is why your soulmate struggles to understand what is happening inside them. You awaken parts of their heart they thought no longer existed. Your energy forces them to confront emotions they buried years ago beneath disappointment, fear, and emotional exhaustion. That is why your presence affects them so strongly. You did not enter their life simply to create temporary feelings. You arrived to awaken transformation. And transformation always begins by shaking the parts of a person that have been asleep for too long. Even now, my beloved child, they replay that conversation inside their mind. They remember the silence in the room after they finished speaking about you. They remember the expressions on people's faces when they realized how serious these feelings truly are. Some were shocked. Some were emotional. Some finally understood why your soulmate has changed so much recently. But the most important thing is this: your soulmate finally stopped running from the truth for a moment. Speaking about you out loud forced them to acknowledge emotions they have been hiding even from themselves. And while you continue questioning whether your connection matters, the person you love is already being changed by your existence in ways they cannot reverse anymore. Your name carries weight inside their world now. Your energy follows them into quiet moments. Your memory interrupts their thoughts unexpectedly. They may still try to appear composed on the outside, but internally something powerful has already begun unfolding. The walls around their heart are weakening. The distance they once created is collapsing slowly. And soon, my child, the emotions they revealed in that silent room will become too strong for them to hide from anyone ever again. If this video is truly meant just for you, then pause for a moment and look within yourself. Are you walking a path of truth, patience, and faith? Do you try to stay honest in your actions and believe in the higher power that guides you every day? If your answer is yes, then this message is for you. You were chosen because you are able to listen, understand, and create change. Don't overthink it. Just feel that inner voice guiding you in the right direction. Now, there's a small step you can take. If this message touched you, you can offer a little support so this inspiration can reach more people. It doesn't have to be much. You can start with just $3 or choose $5 or 10. The link is in the description. Your small contribution can bring light into someone else's life, and it can inspire you as well. Join in and be part of this journey. My beloved child, the silence that filled that room after your soulmate spoke about you was not ordinary silence. It was the kind of silence that happens when people suddenly realize they are witnessing something deeper than attraction. Something stronger than temporary emotion. No one expected your name to carry such weight inside their heart. The people around them had grown used to seeing someone emotionally guarded. Someone who rarely allowed another person to affect them deeply. But the moment they began describing you, every wall they had built around themselves started falling apart without them even noticing. Their voice changed when they spoke your name. Their eyes softened in a way nobody had seen before. And in that moment, everyone listening understood that your presence has already transformed something inside them forever. For a long time, your soulmate tried convincing themselves that these feelings would eventually fade away. They believed distance would weaken the connection. They believed silence could protect them from emotional vulnerability. But instead of disappearing, your energy only grew stronger inside their thoughts. Every memory became sharper. Every interaction became more meaningful. Even moments that seemed small to you stayed alive inside their mind for days afterward. This frightened them because they are not used to feeling emotions they cannot control. Before you entered their life, they believed they understood themselves completely. They thought they knew how to protect their heart from attachment, disappointment, and emotional risk. But your presence disrupted everything they once believed about themselves. The people closest to them noticed these changes long before your soulmate admitted the truth aloud. They noticed how distracted they became whenever your name appeared unexpectedly. They noticed the emotional tension in their silence whenever someone asked about relationships or love. They noticed how they started pulling away from meaningless conversations and shallow connections. My child, real love changes a person quietly before it changes them openly. And your soulmate has been changing in silence for a very long time. That is why the conversation about you became so intense. The people around them had already sensed something powerful happening internally. They were simply waiting for confirmation. But listen carefully. Because there is something important you must understand about this season of your connection. Not everyone surrounding your soulmate fully understands what your presence means in their life. Some people became uncomfortable after hearing the depth of emotion in their voice. Some quietly questioned why someone they thought was emotionally independent suddenly speaks about another soul with such tenderness and seriousness. And while a few people genuinely support this connection, others fear what it might change. Real emotional bonds have a way of exposing unhealthy attachments, false relationships, and hidden insecurities in the people around us. Your connection does exactly that. It forces truth into spaces where illusion once lived comfortably. This is why your soulmate have felt emotionally conflicted lately. One part of them wants to move closer to you without fear. Another part still worries about judgment, expectations, and the consequences of opening their heart completely. They have spent so much time protecting themselves emotionally that vulnerability feels dangerous even when the connection is real. Yet despite all those fears, they cannot escape what they feel for you. No matter how much distance appears between you at times, your energy continues finding its way back into their heart. They carry you into their quietest moments. They think about you during ordinary parts of the day, when your memory suddenly appears without warning. Even now, there are nights where they sit alone replaying conversations with you in their mind, wishing they had expressed more than they did. My beloved child, there is also something your soulmate has not admitted openly yet. Your presence inspires them to become a better version of themselves. That realization alone has shaken them deeply. You make them reflect on their habits, their emotional patterns, and the life they truly want to build. Before meeting you, they were comfortable settling for emotional distance because it felt safer than genuine connection. But now, safety no longer satisfies them the way it once did. You awakened longing inside them. You awakened hope. And hope can feel terrifying to someone who has spent years protecting themselves from disappointment. This is why they sometimes appear emotionally inconsistent. Some days they feel ready to express everything openly. Other days fear pulls them backward into silence again. Do not mistake this inner conflict for lack of feeling. The depth of their emotions is exactly what creates the fear. Strong connections force people to confront parts of themselves they have avoided for years. And your soulmate is currently standing face to face with truths they can no longer ignore. They know your connection is changing them. They know their feelings are becoming impossible to hide. They know the people around them can already see it clearly. And my child, there is another truth you need to hear. While you wonder whether they miss you during periods of silence, your soulmate has already defended your name in conversations you know nothing about. They have protected your image when others misunderstood your intentions. They have spoken about your heart with respect even when nobody else could fully understand why you matter so deeply to them. That alone reveals how serious this connection has already become inside their spirit. People do not protect what means nothing to them. They do not carry emotional memories this carefully unless the bond has touched their soul profoundly. The room became silent, because everyone listening finally understood that your soulmate's feelings are real. They realized this is not temporary fascination. It is not shallow attraction. It is a connection powerful enough to alter the direction of someone's emotional world completely. And even though fear still surrounds parts of their heart, the truth is slowly becoming stronger than the walls they built to contain it. Very soon, my beloved child, your soulmate will no longer be able to carry these emotions quietly. The love they tried so hard to hide is beginning to rise to the surface, and once truth reaches that point, nothing can force it back into silence again. My beloved child, there have been moments recently when you felt distance growing between you and this person, moments where silence became heavier than usual. Where confusion settled into your heart and made you question everything you thought you understood about this connection. I know you have wondered why someone who feels so deeply for you sometimes pulls away emotionally. I know you have questioned why their energy changes without warning, why they seem close one moment and distant the next. But listen to me carefully now, because what you are experiencing is not the death of this bond. It is the pressure of transformation. Your soulmate is fighting battles inside themselves that nobody else can fully see, and part of that struggle comes from the intensity of what they feel for you. Before you entered their life, they learned how to survive emotionally by staying guarded. They became skilled at controlling their emotions, skilled at pretending they did not need deep connection, skilled at protecting themselves from disappointment by never allowing anyone too close to their heart. But your presence disrupted that entire system. You reached places inside them they believed would remain untouched forever. And while part of them longs to surrender fully to this connection, another part still fears what will happen if they allow themselves to become vulnerable completely. This inner conflict is exhausting them more than they admit openly. Some nights they convince themselves they should walk away from these emotions entirely. Other nights they cannot stop thinking about you no matter how hard they try. My beloved child. There are also outside energies affecting this connection more than you realize. Not every person around your soulmate understands the emotional shift happening inside them. Some people feel threatened by the changes your presence has created. They notice your soulmate becoming more emotionally aware, more selective with their energy, more unwilling to tolerate unhealthy relationships or emotional manipulation. And whenever a person begins transforming internally, the people benefiting from their old version often become uncomfortable. This is why certain individuals have tried influencing their thoughts about you. Quiet opinions, subtle doubts, careless comments meant to create emotional confusion. But what those people do not understand is that real soul connections cannot be erased through outside pressure. Truth survives even when fear tries to silence it. Still, your soulmate has struggled under the weight of those influences. They worry about making mistakes. They worry about whether they are ready for the depth of what this connection requires emotionally. Sometimes they pull away not because they feel less, but because they feel too much all at once. Your energy overwhelms them in ways they cannot explain logically. Even a small reminder of you can completely shift their mood for hours. A memory, a photo, a message, the sound of your name unexpectedly appearing in conversation. These things affect them far more deeply than they allow others to see. And because they are not used to feeling emotionally exposed, they retreat into silence whenever those emotions become too intense. But my beloved child, I need you to understand something important during this season of separation and uncertainty. Distance does not always mean disconnection. Sometimes separation becomes necessary for emotional clarity to grow. Sometimes two souls need space to confront their fears individually before they move toward one another honestly. Right now, your soulmate is being forced to confront truths they spent years avoiding. They can no longer pretend they do not care deeply about you. They can no longer distract themselves from the emotional impact your presence has had on their life. The silence between you has become impossible for them to ignore, because your absence speaks to their heart just as loudly as your presence once did. There are nights where they feel your energy so strongly that sleep becomes difficult. They replay old conversations repeatedly, searching for hidden meaning inside your words. They wonder whether you still think about them the way they think about you. They question whether they waited too long to express what lives inside their heart. And even when pride tells them to remain silent, their soul keeps pulling them back toward thoughts of you again and again. This connection follows them everywhere now. It appears during quiet drives, during lonely evenings, during moments when the world around them becomes still enough for their true emotions to rise to the surface. My child, protection is surrounding you during this time even if you cannot fully see it yet. Not every delay is rejection. Not every period of silence means abandonment. Some pauses exist because emotional healing must happen first. Your soulmate carries wounds they have hidden for years beneath emotional distance and self-protection. Loving you forces those wounds into the light. It forces them to confront fears of loss, fears of vulnerability, fears of not being enough. And while that process is painful, it is also necessary. True love cannot grow properly inside a heart still controlled by fear. You must also protect your own energy now. Do not allow anxiety to convince you that your worth depends on another person's timing. Do not chase reassurance so desperately that you lose your own peace. Your value does not decrease during moments of uncertainty. In fact, the emotional growth happening inside you during this season matters just as much as the transformation happening inside them. This connection was never meant to destroy your spirit through fear and obsession. It was meant to awaken emotional truth, healing, and self-worth inside both souls involved. And even now, while distance still exists between you, your soulmate continues carrying your memory carefully inside their heart. They still feel the emotional pull toward you no matter how hard they try to ignore it. The bond between you remains alive beneath the silence, beneath the confusion, beneath every fear still standing in the way. Very soon, my beloved child, the separation that once felt unbearable will begin revealing its purpose. Because what is happening now is not the ending of your story. It is the breaking down of everything false, fearful, and emotionally guarded that once prevented real love from entering fully. My beloved child, the season you are walking through now will not last forever. I know there were moments when the silence made you feel forgotten. Moments when the distance between you and your soulmate felt so heavy that you questioned whether this connection could truly survive. But what you could not see during those painful nights was the transformation quietly unfolding beneath the surface. While you were learning patience, your soulmate was learning truth. While you were trying to heal your fears, they were being forced to confront emotions they had spent years hiding from themselves. And now slowly, the walls around their heart are beginning to weaken in ways they can no longer control. The person you love is not the same version of themselves they once were before meeting you. Your presence changed them permanently. Even during separation, even during silence, your energy continued shaping their inner world quietly. They tried distracting themselves. They tried convincing themselves they could move forward without acknowledging what they feel for you. But every path they explored eventually led their thoughts back to the same place: your connection. That is because real soul bonds do not disappear through avoidance. They remain alive beneath fear, beneath pride, beneath confusion, waiting patiently until emotional truth becomes stronger than resistance. My beloved child, your soulmate has begun realizing that the peace they search for cannot be found in temporary distractions anymore. The emotional comfort they feel around you is different from anything they have experienced before. It reaches beyond attraction. It reaches beyond ordinary affection. Your energy feels like home to parts of their soul that have wandered alone for a very long time. And once a person experiences that kind of connection, it becomes impossible to completely forget. Even when they try to stay distant physically, their spirit continues returning to you emotionally. This is why your name still carries such power inside them. This is why your memory continues interrupting their thoughts unexpectedly. Deep inside, they already know that what they feel for you is real. There have been moments recently where your soulmate sat alone reflecting on everything that has happened between you. They replayed conversations. They remembered your kindness. They remembered the emotional safety they felt around you. And slowly, they began understanding something important: the connection they feared most may actually be the connection their heart has needed all along. This realization has been healing them quietly. It has softened parts of them that life once hardened through disappointment and emotional pain. Little by little, they are learning that vulnerability is not weakness. Loving deeply is not something to fear. And you, my child, became the mirror that revealed this truth to them. At the same time, healing is happening inside you as well. The uncertainty you experienced forced you to confront your own fears of rejection, abandonment, and emotional insecurity. There were nights when you searched desperately for signs, reassurance, and answers because silence made your heart restless. But through this process, your spirit has become stronger, wiser, and more emotionally aware. You are beginning to understand that love should never require losing yourself completely. Real connections are meant to bring peace, not constant emotional destruction. And as your healing deepens, you are becoming more aligned with the version of yourself capable of receiving the love you truly deserve. My beloved child, everything happening now is preparing both of you for a new emotional chapter. The confusion that once surrounded this connection is slowly clearing away. Your soulmate can no longer deny what lives inside their heart. The emotions they once tried to bury have grown too strong to remain hidden. Even the people around them now recognize the truth. They see the way your name changes their energy instantly. They see the softness that enters their voice whenever you are mentioned. They see how deeply your presence has impacted their life. And soon, your soulmate will stop fearing those emotions long enough to finally face them honestly. But remember this clearly: timing matters. Healing matters. Emotional readiness matters. Some connections fail because people rush toward love before they are prepared to protect it properly. That is why this season of separation was necessary. It forced growth inside both of you individually. It exposed fears, insecurities, and emotional wounds that kneeling before true closeness could happen safely. And although the process has been painful, it has also been sacred. Every delay carried purpose. Every silent moment carried hidden transformation. Now the energy around this connection is shifting again. Your soulmate feels it deeply even if they cannot fully explain it yet. They feel the emotional distance between you becoming harder to tolerate. They feel the longing growing stronger. They feel the truth pressing against every wall they once built around their heart. And very soon, my child, the emotions that once stayed trapped inside silence will begin moving toward expression. The person who once hid their feelings so carefully will no longer have the strength to pretend your connection means nothing. So release your fear now. Release the belief that you were forgotten. You were never forgotten. You have remained alive inside their thoughts during every moment of silence. Your energy continued touching their spirit even from afar. And while you worried about losing this connection completely, your soulmate was slowly awakening to the realization that losing you would create an emptiness nothing else could replace. The room became silent the day your soulmate spoke about you, because everyone present felt the truth in their heart immediately. They realized your connection was no longer casual, no longer temporary, no longer something that could be ignored. And now, my beloved child, that truth is becoming impossible for your soulmate to hide from themselves any longer. Healing is replacing fear. Clarity is replacing confusion. And love, the very emotion they once tried hardest to suppress, is finally beginning to rise stronger than anything standing in its way. If this video is truly meant just for you, then pause for a moment and look within yourself. Are you walking a path of truth, patience, and faith? Do you try to stay honest in your actions and believe in the higher power that guides you every day? If your answer is yes, then this message is for you. You were chosen because you are able to listen, understand, and create change. Don't overthink it. Just feel that inner voice guiding you in the right direction. Now, there's a small step you can take. If this message touched you, you can offer a little support so this inspiration can reach more people. It doesn't have to be much. You can start with just $3 or choose $5 or $10. The link is in the description. Your small contribution can bring light into someone else's life, and it can inspire you as well. Join in and be part of this journey.